Extreme It. And
Where'd my hair go?
I know, this is crazy.
Beard and my beard.
I swear he's of age.
I am.
Don't judge him now without the beard and long hair. He is still over 21, ladies and gentlemen. And on this segment of Extreme It, we've actually gotten requests for this one, which we don't get really any requests, but we've had people reach out saying, do the Batman.
Yeah.
And we're winding down on Patrick's final episodes. This is not his last, but we're winding him down. For those of you that follow The Good Life with Patrick Harney, know he is moving across the country.
Going to good old Louisiana.
Louisiana. But we're not
down to the
done.
bayou. No,
I'm going to stretch this out as long as possible, but we're going to take a look at the brand new Matt Reeves' The Batman, which was recently brought out on HBO Max. Not a long run at the theater, although it crushed it at the box office.
Yeah, it did.
And then they immediately released it to HBO Max.
Trying to get that money.
And that they did.
Yeah.
Patrick, you want to kick it off?
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. It was very much a kind of like a detective, like a noir detective film, which I haven't seen yet from a Batman movie. It was a lot darker, and it takes place where the Batman is a lot younger. He's kind of new into that role of the Caped Crusader. Do you like that wordplay? The alliteration?
I like it.
So Robert Pattinson, I wasn't sure how he was going to be, but I really enjoyed him as Batman.
I'm vengeance.
His Bruce Wayne was a little too like, bleh, woe is me.
Emo.
I'm a sad panda.
I get it with your billions of dollars, why you're so sad.
Yeah. So I thought he played a great Batman. He's got the jawline for it, that's for sure.
That he does.
I also thought that Colin Farrell as the Penguin, dude,
Unrecognizable.
unrecognizable, and he was so good. And it was actually just recently that there were some videos and footage of him getting into that transformation that came out. So
He actually shaved the top of his head for the makeup to work and give him the receding hairline, the balding top, and
yeah,
that's commitment.
Paul Dano as
I'd be too afraid to do that. I don't know if it'd grow back.
Same. There's a lot of work that gets done into this. So Paul Dano also as the Riddler. I thought I enjoyed him. But what was creepy about it and what kind of scared me about it is the fact that I could see there actually being people like him.
Oh, for sure.
Like there are people like him, like the Riddler and some of the other Batman villains in the past have always been kind of like these. Oh well, that's not that couldn't be a real person. This is too crazy, right?
Heath Ledger's was pretty frightening real.
Yeah, his was, but you think Jack,
beyond that, they were all
like Jack Nicholson or Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Yes.
Okay, this is so outrageous. This isn't a real, but Paul Dano, yeah. I don't know, but I really loved that it was a kind of a detective story, and it was a very much in the same kind of style I thought as the Joker, in the sense where it was almost kind of like a character study. It didn't feel like a superhero movie.
Okay.
It felt like an actual story that happened to have Batman in it.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. It was a little long. Could have shaved a good 30 minutes off, but that's just me.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it was 45 minutes too long. It was about where I kind of clocked the runtime. I went to this movie with really high expectations. I was really excited for Robert Pattinson to play the Batman. I was not one of those people that really got on the Twilight argument and made fun of him being cast as this character, because I really like Robert Pattinson. Water for Elephants is one of my favorite movies. I love Depression era films. I think he's a very talented actor. So when he was first cast for this, I was totally on board. Zoe Kravitz, I thought, was a perfect mix for Catwoman. I knew she'd be perfect, which she was. I cannot knock her performance in this movie. I thought she did a good job at it. However, I will say, when I went and saw this movie opening night at the theater, super excited, about an hour and a half in, I was really depressed. I was not watching Ben Affleck's vision of the Batman. And everybody knows I'm a big Ben Affleck fan. But the what we're seeing right now is the replacement of what Ben Affleck was supposed to make. In fact, his movie was titled The Batman. He did write a script which was supposed to be more detective-based noir style film. How much of that is incorporated in the script, we'll probably never know. But he did have a working script in place, and it was supposed to be based more on Batman being a detective and being more realistic. So
he would have been good at that.
Yes, and I am curious as to what his vision was, because unfortunately, I felt like there was a lot of problems with this movie. There was just, right from the get-go, I was excited with the narration of, I live in the shadows, and he beats the crap out of the guy. It was super cool. But then, like, an hour and a half later, the Batman is literally knocking on the front door of the club.
No, I am.
Like, I thought you lived in the shadows. Like, there wasn't... It played the line for me trying to be so realistic, but then would do things that didn't make sense when he does the glide from the building and then, like, slams into the bridge. And I get the idea he's not perfect, but you'd have a busted back, leg, arms. The way that they made him hit that bridge and fall, like, no dude would be getting up and walking. I am sorry, but, like, so the movie to me just always kind of told that line where it was like, great, I get they're trying to go for that Seven style detective look and realistic approach.
Yeah, good comparison.
Because the cinematography is beautiful in this movie. I won't knock that. But it just would then kind of take these steps of not realistic, but so far unrealistic that it really messed with my head as far as trying to like this movie. The guy ate bullets like they were M&Ms. I mean, it didn't matter. Fully automatic weapons of people just lighting him up the entire movie, and he's just walking through it as if it's like there's a breeze in the air. It didn't matter. And then you have the scene with the drug deal or the money exchange with the Penguin. And I hate criticizing this scene because I really like the Batmobile in this movie. I love the sound effects, the look of it. I love it.
Rocket on the back.
However, the setup to the movie makes no sense to me in my head. Like, it just, at this point of the movie, I was so frustrated because he's eating bullets the entire time, and then he takes one shot and he falls to the ground. And he's trying to capture the Penguin because he has a hunch he wants to talk to him, and the Penguin's coming around the car, and for some reason the Batman decides, I'm going to make a 50-yard dash to my car now. I'm going to start it. I'm going to rev this engine for like 5 minutes. And I'm going to nudge it forward. I'm going to keep revving the engine until the Penguin gets in his car. And then I'm going to chase him, and I'm going to cause this huge, massive pileup on the freeway with a perfectly conveniently timed empty car trailer hauler line up right up in front of him when he needs it to go over a gas tanker. Like, those are the things, again, where it goes outside of reality, where you're like, I don't know if this is supposed to be real or fake. But just all of that setup, it bothers me because it's like Matt Reeves is a talented director, but he had these problems with Planet of the Apes where if the Penguin was just doing the money exchange and in the dark you heard the Batmobile fire up, and Batman was just there watching, would make that scene 10 times better. It would make sense. He wasn't in the mix. He's there watching from afar. He starts the engine. Penguin immediately runs to his car, and now you have to chase him. But the idea of, like, the whole movie where he's just eating bullets like it's nothing, why didn't you just get up and grab the Penguin and then ask him the questions you need? Because it's clear by this point in the movie, bullets don't hurt him. They do nothing to him. So there's just those back and forth in the movie where I just kept losing interest. I wanted this to be a cool detective story. I wanted the dark, this might be a little too dark, where apparently I think only, like, there's like a 1 GE bulb per household limit in Gotham by this time. Like, nobody can have more than that in their house. It's almost too dark. But there's just these things where you're watching and you're like, this makes no sense. And the movement of Batman, when he's fighting is cool, but the rest of the movie, I just just to take the cowl off. It's a 5-minute scene of him just. It's just so slow. Everything. And I got so frustrated in the theater where I'm like, move. Where I think, like you say, the half-hour runtime might be too long. I say 45 minutes. Because I think there's a lot of those things in the movie where I'm like, you can just pick this up a little bit. You can just move him a little faster. And then it became comical by the end to me when he's back at the crime scene. And thank God, the only police officer on watch of the crime scene happens to have an uncle who happens to install carpets, who happens to understand what the weapon that was used in the first murder is, so Batman can solve everything. Like, there's just too conveniently timed stuff where, why didn't Batman, he sees the blood outprint, he knows, he says at the beginning of the movie, that's the weapon, that was the murder weapon. Google it, find out what it is. If it's a true detective story, find out what that weapon is. Maybe I don't know. Like, maybe there's a clue there when you're dealing with the Riddler. So there's just a lot of those things that stood out in the movie where, and again, I think, I know I looked too deep into it. I know a lot of people enjoyed this movie, and I know I'm the minority of it. And there are pros to the film. The cinematography, beautiful. Robert Pattinson, I think, did a good job. I think Paul, is it Dano? Dano. Perfect as the Riddler, especially out of costume. He fit the look, the character, totally on point. I loved it. I like Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman because she was the throwback to the 70s style Catwoman. Like, I thought she did a great job. Maybe a little ridiculous bike ride at the end, which I was waiting for like Celine Dion to play.
Gosh, that was good. I was gonna bring that up. That I hated the storyline they gave Batman and Catwoman.
Yeah.
Because it felt, that was my biggest issue with the film, was that it felt rushed at the end. That they were like, shoot, let's let them ride off in the moonlight because it's Batman, not the sunset. But I thought Andy Serkis was a good Alfred.
Great Alfred.
I thought he played that part really well, and I also thought Jeffrey Wright was a good James Gordon, because it seems as though like he's newer in that role. Like, he
wasn't commissioner yet.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it doesn't, like, clearly he doesn't have that rapport with Batman yet. So he's trying to navigate all of this at the same time. But I thought one of my favorite parts, though, yes, it has its issues. I also went into it with very low expectations, so maybe that's why I liked it so much. But I really liked the subtlety of, well, it wasn't all that subtle, but the small moments where when he was walking, when Robert Pattinson was walking, and it was almost like he had spurs on the back of his boots.
Oh, and
because
then he
of how heavy that it was.
Continues to walk in the dark, and the bad guys don't figure out if we just walk at a medium pace, he'll never catch up to us. It takes him like 5 minutes to enter a room, and he gives these people so much warning. Kink. 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 I'd be like, all right, guys, we need to start heading now. He's like 10 minutes away.
Well, you don't question the Halloween movies. How does Michael Myers keep
I did make fun of the Halloween movies. That is on record, actually, an Attack on Show for that. But no, I mean, to me, it's like, you live in the shadows. Why are you walking around with spurs and clink, clink, and the, like...
Well, he doesn't actually have spurs.
I know, but you're right. It sounds like it. Yeah. And it's just, again, you don't live in it. Like, to me, Batman was always the guy in the shadows that would sneak out. He'd be like right behind you without you knowing. And they started with that tone, but then never brought it to fruition. And I get, he's young, and this is new. It's showing that. But then the narrative at the beginning probably shouldn't have been said. Like,
You have to admit, though, the hallway scene, the flashes of lights for the gunshots and that fight, that was sweet.
It was cool, but again, I'd love to know what kind of body armor he's using and how nobody hits his entire face that's exposed. I mean, you're right there lighting him up with automatic weapons. Nothing hits up here.
That is one thing I will say that I've always thought didn't make sense with any Batman, was the fact that one of the most vulnerable parts of your body is completely exposed, your chin. You get hit there once, hard enough, you're out.
But I don't think other movies exposed that as bad as this one. Like, I don't think other movies had him just eating the amount of ammo that he did in this film. Where again, like, you know, everyone wants to argue with me, like, "Well, I love that it was a down-to-earth detective movie." It's like, sure, but then
In its
why
moments.
have all of this stuff in it? And you know, you're right. Like Jeffrey Wright, I liked him as Gordon. I liked the relationship between him and Batman. That he was like bought into the idea. But again, like rewatch it, and he frustrated me because even his like pace of speaking, he goes so slow to match the Batman.
What are you saying, Kinsey? Moon Knights for the Penguin?
It just was frustrating. I'm like, can you guys just talk?
You have a
Can
10-minute scene that's 2 pages on the script.
Yeah, where it was just it started to really frustrate. And every time Batman or Bruce enters a scene, he's always coming from looking down to up. And it's like the last shot was just you looking up, Batman, keep your head up. And then cut away the same scene to a different angle, and it's just still like every time. And it just sorry. This movie
it's
really
okay.
it frustrated me because
I love the passion.
Yes, because it really upset me that to see after this movie came out how many people said this was better than The Dark Knight. And I'm a Ben Affleck fan,
Who
and
said that?
there is a lot of that, and it really irks me because The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger is the pinnacle of Batman films, and you don't even need to be a Batman fan to love that movie. Like to me, that was a great like mystery movie that happened to have Batman in it. Like that to me, anybody can watch.
Whoever says that this movie is better than The Dark Knight is high.
I have a lot of people yelling at me when I give criticism of the Batman, saying this is the best Batman of all time, and it just blows my mind.
Okay,
Blows
well,
my
all
mind.
of you that are yelling at him for that, you're wrong in terms of The Dark Knight.
Yes.
This is a great movie, though, but you're wrong about The Dark Knight.
No.
So, Rob, let me ask you, are you watch or...
Well, we're gonna rate this. We're gonna do a new setup.
what?
We're gonna do out of
See that?
5
Did you see that?
of what we think of movies, because I think we've talked this out, and it's like maybe it's wrong for us to tell you not to watch something or to watch something. So we're just gonna rate this on a scale of 5.
You're most likely adult. You can make your own
Yeah,
decision.
you figure out who are we to tell you not to watch something. You'll watch whatever you want, and we'll just rate it on the scale of 5. So I will let you go first. The inaugural
Oh, boy.
out of 5. Patrick, what are you giving the Batman?
Are we doing decibel or like decimals also?
No, I can't do those effects.
Oh, okay.
It's got to be a whole.
Okay. It wasn't going to change my answer anyway, but because I didn't need it. But I would give it a 4 out of 5. It has its problems, but it is a very entertaining movie. In my opinion, it has you on the edge of your seat the whole time. Well, okay, not the whole time. Majority of the time.
Is it because you're nodding off, falling off your
No,
seat? Or,
no. I genuinely, I thought the action was really good. I really enjoyed the action sequences, and some of the little nuanced moments that that I think didn't have to be in there, but added a nice little flavor.
Pro tip: cut the wire under where your hand's holding. So that way you don't have to fall. You'll get it if you watch the movie till the end.
Budget cuts. But yeah, so I give it a 4 out of 5. I'd attack this thing 4 times.
4?
Out of 5.
I am gonna give it a 2 out of 5.
I knew you were gonna do
2 out of 5 because again, like I said, the cinematography is good. I think Andy Serkis is good, even as easily as he can influence Bruce in this movie. My dad's a murderer. No, he's not. Oh, he's not.
Well, but he's a young Bruce. He's a young Bruce who's
Robert
still trying
Pattinson's like 40 years old.
Not in this. They made him look like my age.
He's almost the same age as Ben Affleck, but he's a young Bruce. Anyway, I will give it a 2 out of 5 because
Ben has not aged well.
I think I've explained the plot holes or the issues that I have with the movie. However, I do think the cinematography is beautiful. I do think 95% of the Batman outfit is really cool. I hate the cowl, but I love the rest of the suit. I think it looks really cool. I do think Robert Pattinson, I'm hopeful for part 2 that he can up his Bruce Wayne and his Batman and not be so emo. But Paul Dano in this movie, I think, gives it the extra attack logo. I thought he was an amazing Riddler. So 2 out of 5.
So what does that range out to, or what does that even out to?
The average? A 3?
The average? A 3, and that's a passing grade. So
Not bad.
watch. I'm just kidding. We're not doing that anymore. But yeah, so there you have it. That is our thoughts and our review of The Batman. So do with that what you will.
Leave comments below. We want to hear from you. Who do you agree with here? Because I think we kind of have some common ground, but also, obviously, we have some differences in opinion on this. We'd love to hear from you guys. Leave your comments below and let us know what you think, who you think is crazy, who you agree with, who you like. Obviously, Patrick's going to win on the looks part, but when it comes to the opinion of the movie, I think I got a running chance with some people out there.
It's a haircut. And also, while you're down there in the little comment section, why don't you scroll up just a little bit and hit that subscribe button. Also, maybe give us one of those, right? Thumbs up. And see that little bell that's right there? That has like a little slash through it. You know what that means? It means that you don't have notifications set up, so you can be alerted when a new episode comes out. And the fact that you don't have that makes us very sad.
Yes. Very sad.
So, hit it, and then there will be no slash through it anymore.
Hit it and quit it.
That is
offensive.
Very much so.
Well,
I feel violated myself.
Oh, that'll happen later. Thank you for watching. As always, I'm Rob E.
I'm Patrick Harney.
And this is
Attack on Show.